Now, they stand in very stark contrast. On the one hand, thousands of brave fire crews and volunteers, men and women, risking their own safety to tackle the biggest fire front in the nation's history, many with their own homes under direct threat. They, the true heroes of this emergency. And at the same time in Canberra, our politicians squabble and bicker, trying to score political points over who or what they think is to blame for this bushfire crisis. To discuss, we're joined this morning by Triple M Sydney's Moonman in the Morning, Lawrence Mooney, and the Daily Telegraph State Political Editor, Anna Caldwell. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Deb.
Anna, I'll start with you. I think the PM really hit the nail on the head yesterday when he said we all politicians, he's referring to, need to just take it down a notch because honestly, they need to just stop this fighting.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, there's a bit of Taylor Swift about it, isn't it? We all need to calm down in terms of that rhetoric. I mean, New South Wales, Queensland have been burning. Fires have been lashing people's doors, levelling homes, and politicians in Canberra are name-calling. I just think it is appalling, and I think, you know, these press conferences that we see, people are looking to those for vital life-saving information. They want to know when the fire's coming, they want to know where it is. They're trying to save their land, and politicians are sitting around pointing fingers, trying to figure out who's to blame, trying to take up all the airspace and name-calling. I think it's an appalling, absolutely appalling display.
Yeah, and they wonder why the public is really over politicians in many ways. And I guess, Lawrence, you know, climate change is not to be ignored, but when is the right time to be discussing this issue?
Right now. And there's only two politicians at it, and that's Adam Bandt, and the Greens have never held government, so they can't actually have a policy or any influence on policy. And then there's Barnaby Joyce, a bloke who decides that he's going to talk about two dead people's political affiliations, and essentially he can't know that, and it's just more garbage from the beetrooter. But what I want to say is that there's 22 the head of the New South Wales Fire and Rescue, Greg Mullins, and 22 other heads of fire organisations called a meeting with Scott Morrison that never happened, and they were talking specifically about how climate change is impacting on the fires that we've got now. Low humidity, extreme drought, absence of water, and we're talking about pyroconvectivity, where a fire system creates its own weather system and whips up lightning and thunder within that system and huge winds. If we're not going to talk about climate change impacting on bushfires right now, when are we going to talk about it? Because now is the time. We can point to it and say, look at it. We can also support the people who are losing their homes, victims of fire, people who have been injured, and or the families of those who have been killed. But let's not ignore it. And if we keep ignoring it, well, then there will be no policy, and on it will go until eventually Australia continues to burn like this from October. Let's remember that Tenterfield was on fire in October.
What do you think, Anna? You don't agree?
Yeah, I was going to disagree. I think that this, it's almost a Salem witch hunt mentality, that if you didn't want to talk about climate change yesterday, you didn't believe in it, which I think is absolutely incorrect. I think that you're right. When that letter went to the Prime Minister, we should have been talking about it then. We should talk about it. We need to reflect on what's gone wrong. But these past 2 days, when people, as I said, they've been looking to politicians, looking to these press conferences.
Well, as you say, it's a crisis level, and people do need that basic information.
Yes.
So to have that going on in the background.
That's right. And to have a politician, imagine if yesterday Scott Morrison had stood up and given a sermon on climate change, what people who were trying to save their lives and save their homes would have thought. I mean, I think, you know, we just need to have take some sensibility to this issue. And Lawrence, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be talking about it. We should be talking about it, but not when homes are burning to the ground. I mean, there's priorities.
We don't look to politicians to save our homes. We're looking to the Rural Fire Service and, you know, Fires Near Me app, and that, you know, politicians are only doing walkthroughs. Politicians do nothing to fight fire and nothing to help the families, OK? We're looking to the Rural Fire Service and all of those organisations like the Salvation Army and the Red Cross and, you know, Rotary even, and Lions clubs that actually help communities. We don't need politicians in the picture at all. I quite agree there, but we need them to go away and talk about climate change policy.
All right,
and we need a climate change policy.
Yeah,